I never thought I'd see it with my own eyes, but there it was. My daughter, my little girl, clutching her face, tears streaming down, and standing in front of her was Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of our neighborhood, the HOA president who thought she was above the law. She had just slapped my child across the face. The sound still echoes in my head, sharp, loud like thunder on a sunny day. And that single moment changed everything. But let me take you back to where it started, because it didn't begin with violence. No, it began with something so absurd, so ridiculous, that even now I can barely wrap my head around it. It started with Karen's car. She drives this giant SUV, the kind you'd think she was trying to dock a cruise ship every time she parked. And one day she noticed a scratch. Instead of admitting she probably did it herself because she parks like she's blindfolded, she needed someone to blame. And in true Karen fashion, she picked the easiest targets: kids. My kids. At the next HOA meeting, she stood there like a dictator delivering some Supreme Court verdict and declared, "No more bikes in the neighborhood. They're a menace." She said it like she was saving the world. But what she really meant was, no more bikes for my kids. My daughters Emily, 9, and Daniela, 7, loved riding their bikes. It was their freedom, their joy after school. Suddenly banned. Just like that. And of course her own kids. They kept riding around like they were training for the Tour de France. At first I laughed it off. I thought, there's no way people are actually going to take this seriously. It's just another one of Karen's power trips. People usually roll their eyes, let her rant, and move on with their lives. But not this time. This time she was dead serious. She glared at my kids like they were criminals, like their bikes were some kind of weapon of mass destruction. And I should have known that was just the spark before the fire. A week later I came home and saw it plain as day. Karen's kids were out there pedaling up and down the street, laughing free as birds. And where were my girls? Sitting on the curb, their bikes locked away in the garage like prisoners, watching with this quiet sadness that just broke me. That image is burned into me. The smug looks on Karen's kids' faces, the way they looked at my daughters like they had won. I stormed over to Karen's house, knocked on the door, and when she opened it, she wore that fake smug smile, the one that said she thought she was untouchable. I didn't waste time. I asked her straight up, "Why do your kids get to ride while mine are banned?" She leaned on the doorframe, arms crossed like she was about to deliver a sermon. "Because I'm the HOA president. I make the rules. You're just another homeowner. If you don't like it, maybe you should move somewhere else." Those words cut deeper than I expected. Not just insulting, but demeaning. Like I was nothing. Like my family didn't matter. I clenched my fists so hard my nails dug into my skin. I wanted to shout, to throw it back in her face, but I didn't. Not then. I walked away, simmering, shaking. That night, Emily asked me again, "Dad, why can't we ride our bikes? Did we do something wrong?" And you know what? I couldn't answer. My throat closed up. My anger turned inward. I felt powerless, like I had failed as a father. For a few days, I almost convinced myself to just let it go. Maybe it wasn't worth it. Maybe keeping the peace, avoiding another fight, was more important. But that thought, it made me feel small, like I was giving in to a bully. And if I let this go, what message was I sending to my kids? That you have to bow down to people like her just because they shout the loudest. Then came that Saturday morning. Emily and Daniela had finished their chores, and Emily looked at me with those big eyes, hopeful, innocent, like she still believed I could fix everything. "Dad, can we please ride our bikes today?" Normally, since Karen's ridiculous decree, I would have sighed and said no. But something inside me snapped. I slammed my coffee cup down on the table so hard it rattled. "You know what? Forget Karen. Go ride your bikes." Their faces lit up like fireworks on the 4th of July. They grabbed their bikes and took off, laughter echoing through the street. For once, I felt like I had taken back something Karen stole from us. I stood there watching them, heart-swelling, thinking maybe, just maybe, this was the turning point. But Karen wasn't going to let it go. Of course she wasn't. As my girls rode past her oversized McMansion, the front door burst open. Karen stormed out in her robe, hair wild, clutching her mug of coffee like it was a weapon. She screeched, "I told you, brats, no bikes!" Before Emily could pedal away, Karen was already in the street. She grabbed the handlebars, yanked Emily off balance, and then it happened. That slap, that awful echoing crack across my daughter's cheek. Emily stumbled, clutching her face, tears spilling instantly. I was already sprinting, fueled by rage I didn't know I had. Daniela screamed. Emily cried, and Karen stood there puffed up like she had just won a war. I roared, "What the hell have you done?" My voice cracked through the air. Karen smirked, actually smirked, and said, "This is what happens when you disobey your HOA president. You should have listened." That was it. My fists shook. Every instinct told me to hit back to end this right there. But instead I pulled out my phone. My hands trembled, but I dialed 911. My voice was shaking but firm. "I need police at Maplewood Lane right now. Assault on a child." When the sirens wailed down the cul-de-sac, it felt like Judgment Day. 2 squad cars pulled up, officers stepping out calm but ready. And before I could say a word, Karen jumped in front of me, throwing her little performance. "Officers, thank God you're here. These children were disobeying community safety rules. Bikes are banned. They were a danger to everyone, and I simply disciplined them." Disciplined. She actually said that, like she was some righteous authority figure. My jaw dropped. But the officers didn't buy it, not for a second. One of them knelt down, looked at Emily, and asked softly, "Sweetheart, what happened?" Emily, through sobs, whispered, "She slapped me." That was all it took. No debates, no HOA nonsense, no pretending she was in charge. "Ma'am, turn around. Hands behind your back." The words cut the air clean and final. Karen's face drained of color. She sputtered, "What me? I'm the HOA president. You can't do this to me." But the cuffs clicked shut, cold steel against her wrists. Neighbors spilled out of their homes, phones out recording, whispering, gasping. The queen of the cul-de-sac dragged across her lawn like a common criminal. And I made damn sure charges were filed. Child assault, child endangerment battery. The DA didn't waste time. When the court date came, Karen strutted in like she still thought her title meant something. But sitting in that courtroom with a jury staring back, she wasn't a president, she wasn't a queen, she was just a grown woman who hit a child. And no one was about to let her get away with it. The verdict was clear. Guilty. The judge didn't hold back $4,000 in fines, community service, and 2 weeks in county jail. Just like that, her crown crumbled. Overnight, her reputation was shattered. Parents whispered kids were banned from playing near her house. The HOA board started murmuring about a new election. The untouchable tyrant had fallen. The next day, Emily and Daniela rode their bikes again. This time, the neighborhood cheered them on. Phones out again, but not to shame us, to celebrate. Karen had tried to demand obedience, but what she got instead was humiliation. And me, I realized something important. You don't fight tyranny by staying quiet. You fight it by standing up even when your hands are shaking. Never let someone who craves power convince you that you're powerless.